Oh, he's just been stalking me. Oh, at least it wasn't ghost witch demons. Hello, everyone, and especially my 12 subscribers. Okay, obviously, this is not my normal setup. I'm currently house sitting. So since I am house sitting, and it is October, it is a gloomy, rainy day, I thought what better way to spend the day than by watching some scary, spooky dooky stories. So I went and looked on the page MyStoryAnimated, and I looked under their creepy stories playlist. I mean, I haven't watched any of them yet, but some of the titles caught my attention and I thought it was a great opportunity to make a video. So let's go watch the 3 that I thought had really interesting titles. Okay, the title of this first story, I woke up in the woods with no clothes on and alone on a trip.
Standing cold, alone, and naked next to a river in a strange, foreign country, I wanted to scream.
That sounds like a pretty good time to me. Just saying.
Earlier that year, I was browsing Facebook, and I found that a voluntary organization that was announcing a trip to go and help some people who were less fortunate than me. It was in Africa. I'd always wanted to help people. So without a second thought, I signed up. This is my chance, I thought to myself. The journey was unbelievably long.
Okay, she's basically just talking about how long the trip was and how sad it is seeing people that don't live in a first world country. So I'm probably just going to skip all of this and just get to the nitty gritty of how she ended up naked alone in the woods.
On the next day, I got to meet the children of the tribe and spent the day with them. But there was something that caught my eye. There was a little kid named Quanti who didn't talk with the other kid. I found out later that Quanti was an orphan. His parents went hunting one day and never returned. Poor Quanti. He didn't deserve what happened to him. I felt the need to get closer to that kid. I approached...
Poor Quanti. Okay. My biggest issue with this so far is that it just sounds like it's a white savior type deal.
him and told him in a very few simple words, I have come a long way to meet you. I hope I can be your friend. But what happened next had me put my life on the line. Since there were no bathrooms, we had to go to the river to bathe. So at the end of the day, I carried my stuff and went along to bathe in the river. I put my stuff by the bank. I took off my clothes and went into the water, which was ice cold, by the way. But guess what happened next? When I was done, I couldn't find my clothes. They were simply gone. Oh God, who would do such a thing? And more importantly...
Oh no, I, a teenager on a trip with other teenagers, decide to get naked and bathe outside. Who on earth would have the ludicrous idea to steal my clothes?
How would I get out of the water naked? I didn't even have a towel to cover up. I was so very, very scared. But
you just walk out. Ha ha. Everyone has a small laugh. You're probably good to just walk out and then go about your business.
Luckily, one of the girls who came on the trip with me came running over when she noticed what happened.
Oh, incidentally, a girl from the trip came running over when she noticed.
She lent me a dress so I could get out of the water. I was positive that no one else had been in the water with me, but what I discovered when I returned back to my tent had me shocked. My stuff. They were lying on the ground and...
What? Someone knew where my tent was, you know, the White Valley girl who clearly has her tent next to everyone else's tents. My clothes were returned to me there? Almost like a prank!
But I was sure that what happened next while I was sleeping wasn't a hallucination. Suddenly, I felt as if someone was getting closer and closer to me. So I stayed covered and scared until the sun began to rise. It was only then that I could no longer hear the sound of that person breathing. In the morning, I told one of my friends what happened. She laughed and said, "They must be ghosts." So I responded, "That's probably right. They're probably just ghosts. Maybe the clothes event was just a bad joke by..."
That's right, that makes so much sense. It was ghosts. It wasn't someone playing a prank on me, it was ghosts.
But was the person who stayed with me in my tent all night long a joke as well? I got out of my tent the next day only to find Quanti standing there. When he saw me, he ran towards me and hugged me. I looked into Quanti's eyes and said, "Thank you for being here with me in this weird place." Quanti did not understand what I said, but he said, "Quanti is friend of Kathy," which was my name. It might seem odd, but that child was like an angel, accompanying me since the day I arrived at that weird place. On the next day, we had to distribute food packages according to a list that I had with me. The last box was for a woman who lived a little further away from the tribe. I was told she was a witch. After I heard that, the thought of visiting and meeting her excited me. But I never expected to see what I saw when I went to where she lived. Her front yard was full of animal skulls. I couldn't believe it. Her tent was also made up of animal skins that had writings with weird letters written all over them.
Her house was made of skin and bones.
I thought to myself, that could definitely be the spells that everyone told me about. I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. I shouted, "Hey, is anybody here?" But no one answered. I placed the box on the front of the tent.
I shouted something in a foreign language where people clearly, it's already established, don't understand what I'm saying, and no one responded to me. Weird.
Turned around to leave. I asked 2 or 3 more times.
Okay. We've already established no one understands you. Why are you going on for like 5 minutes about how you stood there just continuing to scream and hearing noises? No one can understand you, so quit shouting, just leave the food and go.
But no one answered. Finally, I looked behind me, but
This
there
girl's
was
paranoid.
nobody there. I was literally living a nightmare. I started to run towards the woods. I was crying so hard that I could no longer see where I was going. My feet slipped and I fell into a very deep hole in the ground. I tried to stand up, but it turned out that I had broken my leg.
Ghosts chased me in the woods when I was shouting in a language no one understood, and then I broke my leg.
I had been laying in that hole for hours when I heard a faraway sound. Yes, what you are thinking is true. They came to save me, but how did they know where I was? Sally approached me and asked me what happened. I told her the truth about what I was dealing with since I arrived at that place. I told her that I felt like I was being stalked since I arrived. I told her that I got lost in the woods because I was scared and was trying to escape from whomever was stalking me, and that I still didn't know who he was. Suddenly, Sally burst into laughter, and I couldn't understand why. When she was finally done laughing hysterically, she wiped the tears of laughter off her eyes.
It was a prank.
And said that Quanti was the one who followed me everywhere, and that he was the one who went back to the tribe and told them where I was. How naive I must have been. But why would Quanti do what he did? I asked Sally to bring Quanti to me, but before she moved a muscle, Quanti entered the tent and said, "Quanti is here." I asked him why he was acting that way, so he
I love how she's so nonchalant about it now, like, oh, he's just been stalking me. Oh, at least it wasn't ghost witch demons. Great.
mumbled a sentence that we barely understood. Katie, friend of Quanti. Quanti, friend of Katie. Quanti, protect.
Wait, Kate? I thought she said her name was Kathy.
Now I understood it all. I was the first person to show him any kindness since his parents died. He didn't want any.
No, bitch, you probably weren't. Like, these people are not just heartless and cruel to one another. I'm sure other members of his tribe were polite to him, just like you.
Anything bad to happen to me either. I hugged him tightly and cried. Months passed until I made a full recovery. In the meantime, while I rested my leg, I managed to find a loving family that could adopt Quanti. Quanti is living right here in America with that family. In fact, he is only 2 towns over.
So that was a white savior story where this valley girl went to Africa and saved this poor little black kid whose family died. Was the only person that ever showed him kindness, apparently, and then took him back to the States. And it didn't explain how she was naked in the woods, like how she woke up naked in the woods. So our next story is, I found out why my mother keeps losing her underwear. You know, I used to have this same problem. My solution? Just don't wear underwear.
Hello, I am Monica. A few days ago,
She looks like Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club.
I discovered something shocking in my friend's room. Okay, so I had a friend named John in my piano class who I thought was gay. I enjoyed hanging out with him. One time, Mom came to pick me up from my
Okay.
piano class. John started asking weird questions about her. I answered him, but
I can already tell this is going to be a Stacy's mom story.
I was truly confused. Once, John suggested visiting me at home. I thought it might be a good idea. I mean, he was just a friend, right? John started to regularly visit me at home, and he would engage in exceptionally long conversations with Mom every single time. The next time he wanted to visit me, I suggested visiting his house instead. He looked uneasy at my suggestion, but he agreed. In his room, I noticed something odd. The walls were covered in posters of old ladies in short skirts. John went outside for a minute to...
How old is an old lady? Are we talking like Blanche or like Mrs. Robinson?
bring us something to eat, and my curiosity pressed me to look into his closet to explore what might be in a gay guy's room. But what I found was nothing short of astonishing. His closet was full of women's panties, and not any panties. They were my mother's. I had absolutely no doubt about it. They were hers. When he returned to the room, I told him I had an...
Okay, back at the beginning of this story, I said I had the same problem. I just left them at places by accident. I didn't have anyone stealing it, I don't think.
urgent matter back home. I rushed back home and went straight to my mother, asking her if she'd noticed anything missing lately. And guess what? She told me that she didn't know where her panties were vanishing to. What was...
Yeah, did you see that freaking pile? Yeah, you'd notice if that amount of underwear went missing.
It made perfect sense. If John wasn't gay nor attracted to girls my age, it was more than likely that he was into older women. So I went to his house. When he opened the door, his whole family was there, gathered at the table. I didn't care. The only thing I cared about at the time was yelling in his face for what he'd done. I pointed my finger at him and shouted about everything I knew. I concluded with, "I know that you are obsessed with my mother and that you took every chance to get into my house to be close to her." Before I knew it, John was lying on the ground motionless. I barely finished my
The truth literally killed him.
last sentence, and his mom started screaming at the top of her lungs. I later learned that John had a breathing condition, and that when I faced him with the truth that he'd carefully hidden from everybody, especially his parents, he couldn't stand it and passed out.
Yeah, no duh. I don't know a single person that doesn't hide their attraction and preferences from their parents to like some extent. Like, especially like a kink like this.
I don't know what to feel. I wish him a speedy recovery, but I don't regret what I did. Tell me what you think in the comments.
I think there's a good chance that you're kind of just a bitch that outed your friend's kink to his parents. Alright, our last story is I found my pictures on my creepy roommate's phone.
Hi, I'm Regina, and I want to share with you my story that almost ruined my trust in people. It all happened at a summer camp that I went to with my cousins, Jess and Cassie. My boyfriend Rick was there too. I got assigned to Group C, and my room was on the west wing, and I was paired with a red-haired girl. "Hello, my name is Katie. What's yours?" she asked me as I walked in. "I'm Regina," I replied. We got to talking, and it looked like we would get along really well. At about 2 a.m., I heard someone talking really loud. "No, I won't give in. Stop, you're bugging me. I'm tired." "No, I said not tonight." That was my roommate talking in her sleep. I got up and taped her. "Hey, are you having a bad dream?" I asked. She woke up really startled and said, "Yeah."
Did she say I woke up and I taped her? Like you recorded her talking in her sleep? That's creepier than your roommate having pictures of you.
I told her to wash her face and try sleeping again.
I told her
I
to
got
wash
back
her
in bed
face.
and pondered through the night. Katie was an interesting person. She was really cool. Kind of clingy, but cool. During camp activities, Katie would struggle to be on the same assignment as me, but never on the opposite team. Rick always teased me. "I see you got a new girlfriend who can't let you out of her sight." During one of my conversations with Rick, I figured he was driving somewhere with his constant bickering about Katie always being around. I walked back to my room and met Katie reading a book. For some reason, I glanced at her phone and saw that her wallpaper was a picture of me. I jokingly asked her about it.
Like
and
just of you
she
or
laughed
the two
and
of
said
you?
that she put it there by mistake and felt too lazy to change it. I told Rick about it.
Yeah, I totally accidentally put up wallpaper on my phone by mistake.
And it fueled his suspicions. One day, Katie asked to talk to me. "Hi, Regina. Do you mind if we speak? I think Rick might not be into you like you think he is. I
She's gonna
saw
say he's
him
gay.
kiss another girl today, and
Oh.
I just felt I should tell you. I just wanted to find Rick and
My God, look
punch
at that
him in the
face.
face. I got to Rick and cussed him out for cheating on me. He looked so shocked. Why do you seem so surprised? You thought I wouldn't find out, right? I screamed at him.
Oh my god, look at those demon eyes.
Rick didn't get provoked. Rather, he calmly asked who told me. Katie did. She saw you behind the store. We don't even have a store on this camping ground. I felt so stupid. I stormed off without even saying a word to Rick because I was in between doubts. At 5 a.m., the alarm for morning drill rang, and I couldn't get out of bed. I felt really sick, so I had to sleep in.
Poison.
I pretended to Katie that I had cramps because I didn't want her clinging all over me. Rick got worried and came over to check on me. Rick was sweet. I can't believe I almost let Katie do us dirty.
Katie, do us dirty. Let's hear her say that one more time. That was great.
I can't believe I almost let Katie do us dirty. I apologized to him, but he shut me up with a kiss. Time passed, and before long, the long-awaited bonfire night commenced. We were really looking forward to this part of the camp, but here I was, under the weather. I convinced him to go have fun for the both of us. The next morning, I got up quite late, and everywhere seemed silent. I walked out and discovered that everyone was searching for Rick. Katie, where's Rick? Why is everyone looking for him? Is he hurt? I asked, trembling. They say that he was seen last night wandering in the woods, Katie answered,
She
in
killed
the
him.
calmest of tones. She didn't even care. Then it hit me. Katie never liked Rick.
She killed him.
She might have a hand in this. She just might know what happened to Rick. Katie, do you know where Rick is? I asked her with bloodshot eyes. She stammered, and I immediately took the case to our camp commander. He called Katie to question her, but she denied having anything to do with Rick's disappearance. Aretha, one of the girls in my dormitory, said she saw Katie and Rick together that night. The search party
Buried him in a
found
shallow
Rick
grave out in the
woods.
forest.
He was stuck in a hole covered in leaves a few yards away from the bonfire. I ran to give him a hug and check to see if he was hurt. Fortunately, he had no bruises on him. Katie asked me to escort her towards the lake. She said she wanted to apologize for causing a quibble between you and I. She pushed me in the booby trap. It was unbelievable how she did it while she talked about how lucky I am to be with you and how much she wanted to be you. Listening to Rick's experience with Katie infuriated me. I walked up to our camp commander to report the case. Katie seemed unapologetic for what she had done. Would you believe that when she was asked why she did what she did, she said she loved me and wanted me for herself? Why me? What did I do to deserve all of this? I guess I'll never know. Katie got thrown out of camp as punishment for her misconduct, and I had to live through camp with rumors of the incident.
So I love that her takeaway was, what did I do to deserve having someone obsessed with me? I guess I'll just never know. Well, unfortunately, these weren't quite the creepy vibe that I was hoping for. I was hoping something that would give me more of that scared Halloween feel. These stories were very interesting, and I'm going to put the link to the channel below so you can check out some of their other ones. They have a lot of interesting titles. I don't think any of them are really going to give you goosebumps. So until next time, bye!